Hello and greetings to you viewers. Today I'm going to talk about Tesla. Tesla is a very interesting stock because it has been one of those stocks that has been most talked about. But before I get started, I do want to disclaimer that I own some shares for Tesla, but I'm not doing this video or this analysis to promote the stock, but to just share the content for educational purposes. So please take some time and just read through this and understand that this is a content just for educational purposes, not investment advice. So in terms of what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to quickly talk about Tesla as a business, what they do, their earnings highlights. It's one of those things that is most recent, and also do a quick financial analysis for the most recent financial situation, but also spanning across the past 10 years, and dive into whether it is, I believe it's a good time to get into Tesla. Now, for those who don't know me, my name is Isaac Jonas, and I'm an economist. I'm also a retail investor. I like to talk about personal finance because throughout this journey, I've been struggling to find information. So I like to share what I've experienced, but not as investment advice. So Tesla is a company that was founded in 2003, and it was at some point based in Palo Alto, California, but they've since moved to Texas, and it's also globally integrated because they have some factories in China, in Europe as well, and also mostly in the US. So the company sells solar panels, you can see here, and solar roofs, and they also have multiple vehicles in fleet, luxury and mid-size sedans. So each time that I go out, I see a lot of Teslas. So it's something that I like to see because most of the time these things they make sense when I see the actual cars. So that's the service that they manufacture cars, but they also provide a variety of other services. But when I look at the trend in terms of their quarterly revenue here, I've transitioned now to the company's reports. You can see that there's been an upward trend in terms of the revenue. You can see here, but there's been a somewhat worrying situation because if I look at the most recent report, their revenue dropped, but it's still somewhat, if I draw a line here, it's an upward trajectory. But in terms of the most basic metrics that I look at when I just consider a stock, I see that Tesla, in terms of the return on equity, is more than 15%, which is something that I look for. It's about 24%. Return on invested capital, it is fantastic, 23%. The 52-week low, when I did this video, when I captured this, I'm recording on the 26th of April. This was 2 days ago. It was $138.08, but it did, go up to almost $300 in terms of the shares. But Tesla has been recently missing their earnings. You can see that in their most recent earnings, they did miss their earnings, expected earnings, by 9.4%. Their revenue was 1.3 billion when the expected was 22.26. But what then really drove the share price after their earnings was that people believed the story Elon Musk was talking about, the other opportunities, the robo taxis, and also other good things, that they still have, free cash flows, which is something that is good, especially in terms of a harsh macroeconomic environment. You can pause and look. I took this from the Tesla investors webpage, where they just put some highlights in terms of their money that came in, net income. But I would do here in this case show you that when I look at the revenue, this is just for quarter on quarter and year on year. You can see that the revenue, they dropped by 13%, right, for so far, from quarter one 2023 to present. But the service and other revenue, it went up by 23%. So I like these trends, right? I got this from Tesla shareholder deck. But their operating margin from 2021, sorry, was, it has been declining, like from, you can see here the trend. which is something somewhat that I understand, because when the business is growing, they also have been reducing their prices for some of their cars. But as the competition gets steep, and also the interest rates, most people they buy cars on loans. So what then happens is that it sort of like possibly reduces like the demand. But when I look at the free cash flows, they still have positive cash flows for the most part. But in quarter 1 right now, it shows that they have negative free cash flows. So this is a red flag for me, right? So I also look at their cash and cash equivalents. They have about 22.4 billion. They had 22.4 billion, but right now they have actually increased their cash, to 20, almost 27 billion. So they have cash actually that they have. So this comes handy when the cost of borrowing increases. So fundamentally, whichever way that I look at Tesla stock, their finances, this is income statement for the past 10 years. You can see that their net income has been it was red, in the red for the most part, until 2019, but they started increasing. You can see that it's been increasing, right? So which is good. Their net income has been increasing. Now if I look at their short-term debt, it has been decreasing, which is good. But the long-term debt also has been decreasing, and they have also have a very good, cash flow. Like I was telling you, they have even over 20 billion just cash. So, which is something that is good. I like that. Their free cash flows. This is over the period of past 10 years, right? You can see. I look at it from right to left. It has been in the positive. So their situation in terms of their financials, it has been good. Now, in terms of insider trades, these are some of the executives who exercise their share rights. They sold, some of them they sold in April 2023. You can see that there were some sales, but there were also some who bought some shares. So this is healthy. Sometimes people have to pay taxes and stuff. But when I look at other big funds, they also they bought in Q1 2023. David Tepper, this is a hedge fund, but they sold off their position. So sometimes people just buy and sell, but is it something that is worrisome? No, these things happen, right? Now when I look at the comparison with other companies, because I like to see, do they have a strong uh, competitive advantage? You can see that Tesla, in their specific niche, they are actually on the top, about 70%, which is good. Now, there's also this other company, I think it merged with Chrysler, but this is, in their particular niche, they are way better than Tesla in terms of the return on investment and also their finances. But still Tesla 70%, 70 out of 100 is a very good score. Even the rate of return, Tesla is not really bad at all. They are in a very good shape as far as I can tell, and this I've actually just spoken about it. The outlook in the sector is good. They're also integrating artificial intelligence, but currently their share value, it had dropped. But I was prepared to start buying more shares if it had dropped to about the level of 130, or even 135, somewhere there, to add some more shares for long term. But I'm not worried, because I own some exchange traded funds, XUS and SPY, which have some shares in Tesla. So I like that. And also now it has started to go back upward. So in conclusion, Tesla is a fundamentally good company, but sometimes I worry about their leader. Sometimes is this outbursts, and it's very volatile. It's not a stock for the faint-hearted. So what some people do is they buy some puts to say, let's say if it retraces to 150, and then they can be assigned that share, and then they get to take those shares at that price plus that premium, because it will be in the money. So that's something that I would also consider. But right now, I'm just buying a few shares at a time, but I haven't been buying at this point. I bought at the top, not necessarily the top. I think my average is about 240, so I'm in the red, you know, in terms of Tesla. But I've been hesitant to say, should I add, because I have actually been taking the strategy of mostly putting most of my money in the index funds, right? And also a few other companies that I really like Microsoft, and in the other portfolios that I manage for the family, like Google and Amazon. Those are the companies that I prefer. But in terms of the EV sector, because of the increasing interest rates, that's something of my concern. But right now, at the current price valuation, Tesla is now has retraced upwards, but I would have added more shares if it had dropped to $130 per share. Because one thing that I've learned is that sometimes you have to be patient, and opportunities can arise when you buy when the share price drops, provided the story and the narrative hasn't changed. So that's something that I thought I would just share with. But please share your comments about this stock. It is a wonderful business from whichever angle that I look at it. It's integrating artificial intelligence, but it's also currently it has been trading at forward earnings that are quite high. So those are some of the things that concern me. So I know that at the end of the day, you can lose money by getting at the top and also selling at the bottom. So I'm kind of like just watching and hoping that Tesla drops further. If it drops, maybe I can put some more money into it, maybe 5% of my position, or even up to 10%. But right now, I'm just not acting. I can just trade it, but not um, getting in at the current price. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day, and may the markets be with you.